Major action we continue to watch in Austin is on flood recovery and response after the water rose in central Texas and killed more than 130 people, including 27 young girls at Camp Mystic.
Those parents have been advocating for change at summer camps across the state and appear to be making inroads. Governor Abbott outlined key priorities this special session. In it, camp safety, flood warning, and emergency communication.
NBC5's anchor Meredith Land spoke with some of those families and has their story.
So why is this urgent? Why now? Why this special session now?
Because if we don't get it passed in this special session, it'll be January 2027 before another regular session is called, which would mean that would be one, potentially 2 summers. I mean, if you don't start until spring of 2027, you don't get anything passed before that you can, establish before that summer. So you're looking at summer of 2028 potentially before any of these changes are mandated. That's not a risk I would be willing to take again as a parent.
2 Dallas families changed by 7 weeks of mourning and united by the love and loss of their daughters.
They can only hope that time numbs, because it will never go away.
I spoke with the Bonner and Peck families, 2 of the 26 families tied to the Heavens 27 organization. The group of parents who lost children in the flood at Camp Mystic hopes to pass legislation protecting Texas campers.
Nothing will bring these girls back. We recognize that.
But they say passage of House Bill 1 and Senate Bill 1 would solidify Heavens 27 Camp Safety Act as law. The parents' group priorities include prevention, detection, training, and response. They want structures out of flood zones, 24-hour emergency detection plans that include monitoring and notification systems, and evacuation plans.
There are very simple solutions here that revolve around simple items: prevention, making sure people don't sleep in floodplains, especially children; detection. I know there's been a lot out there in terms of early warning systems that do exist that just weren't funded. And then even detection on premise. If you don't have cell service and you don't have power, if you don't have a plan, how are you going to communicate with a number of 8- and 9-year-old girls that outnumber the adults by an order of magnitude? I mean, it's mind-boggling.
There was a sheet recovered from trunk that gave notes on emergencies and if someone got hurt, what to do. And the action in a flood it said on the sheet, to shelter in place.
To stay put, basically.
Which is not a plan.
If these changes, which as Blake identified, are common sense changes. I mean, it's common sense. If these changes aren't implemented, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
I wouldn't wish what we've gone through on my worst enemy.
Yep.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And it's of the essence that we have to get this done to make sure that it is, every child should be safe. Every child.
What can people do in this community? This community supported you a lot.
Call your legislators. Reach out to them. Support it. I mean, they're hearing it. So I think just keep reaching out if you support it.
Flood legislation is just one of the things that remains on the agenda for the special session. Speaker Dustin Burrows said this week they are hoping to wrap up by Wednesday, and there's a lot unresolved, Gromer.
This as Abbott added new items to the agenda this week. Lawmakers only have 30 days per special session, and this one started August 15th. Abbott said prior to the session he planned to keep calling sessions until his priorities are passed.
One stuck right now, THC changes. A plan to ban hemp-derived THC has stalled in the legislature. The Senate has passed a ban and sent it to the House, but it has not moved since. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick wants a ban, but just 2 months ago, Abbott vetoed a bill pushing to legalize and regulate low levels for adults.
We are also anticipating action that could replace the STAR test. the end of the year exam for Texas public school students that has been the subject of controversy. Wednesday night, the Texas Senate passed House Bill 8, changing the year-end STAR test to 3 smaller tests throughout the year, requiring results back to teachers and students within 48 hours. It would also include a committee of teachers to review the test. The TEA creates one key difference to be resolved between the two chambers, whether or not to include a history and social studies test.
The controversial new congressional maps will head to the courts. Governor Abbott signed them into law Friday. Starting October 1st, a judicial panel will take up the case, allowing for enough time to make a decision before the December filing deadline for the 2026 elections. Now, the maps will redraw several districts in an effort to turn 5 Democratic seats into Republican seats, a request of President Donald Trump to shore up a Republican majority heading into the 2026 midterms. Gromer, what's interesting, we came into this series of special sessions talking about THC, but yet THC is going to be one of the things that may not get done.
Yeah, isn't that something? I mean, that was the real reason, the big reason to have the special session. And just think about it, all that happened since, it really made that issue, something that's not a priority.
And it shows that emergencies and politics with the flooding bills and the redistricting can really change plans fast.
And Phil, it also shows you how important that initial 140-day session is. Mm-hmm. You just can't always rely on, I'm going to call a special session. Things happen, and that sometimes the timing doesn't work out.
This week, the Texas Supreme Court denied a request from Attorney General Ken Paxton to overturn a ruling stopping him from taking action against former Congressman Beto O'Rourke. Now, in response, Paxton cried foul, claiming judicial activism. So here's what happened. Paxton submitted an emergency appeal to the court, requesting a Court of Appeals order in Beto's favor to be overturned. The 15th Court of Appeals passed Paxton's ability to place a temporary restraining order, or TRO, on O'Rourke's fundraising for Democrats who'd left the state to break quorum. Originally, Paxton filed a suit in a Tarrant County District Court and was granted the TRO. A hearing was originally scheduled for this coming Tuesday.